Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Goralnik Hour, joined by Greg Sorensen. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Oh, man, thank you for joining me. I love it when people can join me in the studio. It really gives me something else to do other than look at the TV.
Watch yourself recording. A little bit of news going on over there, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not always on. That's not always, you know.
Oh, okay. We got the public access cable going on today.
Yeah, I mean, when it is on, I think that's the only channel it can tune into, but sometimes it's distracting, you know? You got those sexy weather ladies that come on. I'm just like, oh, we got a great show today. A lot of stuff going on. We got Double Dose coming up in about 10 minutes. Adam's Fantasy. Gonna do some sports bets. I don't know if you're a betting man, but we'll get into that.
I just signed up for DraftKings.
Hey, I've heard a lot about that. I haven't looked into it, though.
I put in $10 and I'm hoping to turn it into $1 million. We'll see what happens.
You know, next year when they're advertising, I'm gonna hear your name. You could be like this guy from Connecticut who won $560,000.
Yep.
I hope so. I hope so. Then we'll get you a home studio.
Oh, that'd be great. You could come to my house and record the Goralnik Hour.
Oh yeah, I'll do that out of your basement. Well, actually, with $560,000, I hope you have like a loft, you know.
Oh, it'll be a separate area for podcasting and radio purposes.
It'll be the podcast pod.
Bam.
Boom. Oh, and then we got a topic that we discussed last Friday. It's Debate Friday, obviously, and we got Andrew Hoops in. We always get the scoop with Andrew Hoops. Who is the most well-known name in sports, in all of sports? And we'll discuss that later. But
past or present. Past or present.
Yeah, and you know, it could be international, U.S., doesn't matter. We'll get into that. Right now, though, it is the recap lap. Let's get into it. The Reds at home against the Cubs, and they took care of business. They win the game 7-2. The Yankees were visiting the Tigers, and it was a close one. Game came down to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the man who has killed the Yankees, I think a couple of times, but one time in particular in Yankee Stadium earlier this year, he comes through again for the Tigers.
And Avila shoots one in the air to right field. Ball is hit well. Ichiro back, track, wall. That is a game winner for the Tigers.
And I see you dancing over there, Greg. I think you like that one, huh?
No, I'm liking this technology, tuning in with sound clips and everything.
Oh, yeah. We do it right here on the Goralnik Hour.
Digging it.
Alex Avila gets the walk-off RBI. They call it a single. It most likely would have been a double. I mean, it was off the wall. It should have been a home run. Big win for the Tigers against the Yankees at home. Colorado Rockies visiting the Giants, and Yusmeiro Petit. Did I say that right?
You did, sir.
All right. He sets the single-season record by retiring 46 straight batters. He broke the 2009 records set by Mark Buehrle. He breaks the record, and the Giants go on to win 4-1. But that was the big story in that game.
Huge story.
Great stuff for him. I mean, it wasn't just a National League record, not a Giants record, a Major League record, retiring 46 straight batters. Incredible stuff. Baltimore hosting the Rays, and it was a close one. They each decided to score the same amount of runs in every inning except the 7th, where Baltimore tacked on the game-winning 5th run of the game. They beat the Rays 5-4 at home. They're just cruising, man. Nothing's holding them back. The Braves visiting the Mets, and Mike Minor pitching for the Braves. He goes 7 innings, allows 4 hits and only 1 earned. That 1 earned was the only run that the Mets actually could get against the Braves, and the Braves win the game 6-1. The Indians against the White Sox in Chicago, and Carlos Carrasco, right?
Carrasco.
There we go. Carlos Carrasco. He strikes out 7, and the Indians win, and they win 3-2. Listen, the Indians, they're not out of the playoffs.
Nope.
It's a long shot, but they're not out of it.
They were hoping for a Yankee win last night, but...
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, they're chasing the Yankees as well, so...
True.
But the Tigers are above the Yankees as well, so, I mean, it's kind of a win-lose for them. You know, you gain a game on one team, or you lose a game, or just stay even with another team. So the Twins and the Royals in Kansas City, it took 10 innings, but no walk-off magic for Kansas City last night as the Twins put up 6 runs in the 10th inning. They go on to win 11-5. Alex Gordon hit his 17th home run in the losing effort. The Rangers versus the Astros. It's a battle of the worst of Texas and the worst of baseball. And Jason Castro hits a grand slam for the Astros in the 5th inning, and that's all they needed. They beat the Rangers 4-2. And then the big matchup, the series that I'm really looking forward to. I mean, obviously I'm a Yankee fan, so I like the Tigers and Yankees, but This is probably the second best series, if not maybe the better series for just a baseball fan. Athletics and Angels in Los Angeles of Anaheim. I don't know how you want to call that, but it took 10, and it was some walk-off fashion for one team. Take a listen.
Howie shoots from the right. This should do it. Back is Reddick. Tagging is Pujols. Drive home safely.
And Howie Kendrick gets the sac fly walk-off winning sac fly. Pujols came to score the winning run, and the Angels extend their lead in the AL West by a couple of games now.
Crazy. Last time I was in here, we were talking about how the Athletics getting Jeff Samardzija was going to let them run away with the division, and then the Angels just come out like a bat out of hell.
And they lost Garrett Richards. That seems to be fueling their fire.
Yep.
I don't know. I do not know, but great stuff for them. Quickly looking at the final preseason week in football, Dolphins beat the Rams by 1, but Michael Sam had 6 tackles in the losing effort.
Led the team.
Listen, I'm glad to see that he made the team. He deserved it. He played well, I think, all preseason.
Yep.
Eagles shut down the Jets 37-7. I think the big story in that game was Michael Vick's ovation that he got when he returned to Philly. Good to see. I mean, he gave him a lot of years. He took a lot of injuries for the better, well, not for the better of that team, but trying to do what he could do to get that team to win.
Oh, I agree. It's a change of pace from a Philadelphia fan base if you look at their history.
Yes. Normally you would expect a boo and
batteries being thrown on the field.
Cheesesteaks at him. I don't know. Oh, well, that would actually be pretty good. The Giants win against the Patriots 16-13. Panthers shut out the Steelers 10-0. The big game, the big highlight game, the Browns 33, Bears 13. Johnny Manziel 6 of 17 for 83 yards and a touchdown. He also ran the ball 4 times for 55 yards. Just a lot of inaccuracy from Manziel. Seahawks lose to the Raiders 41-31, and then the Chargers beat the Cardinals in a low-scoring game 12-9. And in college football, just a few scores here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the big games, South Carolina just got demolished by number 21 Texas A&M. South Carolina was number 9 going into the game. I don't think it'll stay that way.
Not at all.
Kenny Hill, can you smell the Heisman? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he's getting Heisman.
They're saying, who's Johnny Football?
Kenny Hill, huge game, 44 of 60. I think that's more impressive than the amount of yards he threw
Definitely.
for. But he threw for 511 yards, more than Johnny ever did in a single game for Texas A&M. So, yeah, Johnny football era is over. Kenny Hill, welcome to Texas A&M. You are an Aggie for life now. Ole Miss playing Boise State, number 18 Ole Miss, and they take care of business in the Georgia Dome. I think the bigger story is the wide receivers for Ole Miss. Cody Core, he had 4 receptions for 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Laquan Treadwell had 7 receptions for 105 yards. So 2 receivers over 100 yards. Wow. He also got a touchdown. Arizona State, number 19 ranked, crushes Weber State 45-14. And then Temple beat Vandy 37-7. I mean, Vandy just looked terrible. They made a QB change at half, and that didn't work as they just get smashed in their opening game of the year. Not good news for Vandy. We'll get into more college football news when we touch base with our fantasy expert insider, Adam. He will join us in about 20 minutes or so, and we're gonna quiz him. You know, he's gonna take a couple stabs at some spreads for over the weekend. That's what he does. That's why he's our fantasy expert insider. But right now, we got to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will get into Double Dose. No class in session today. We don't have enough time. We got a busy show. Keep it right here. It's the Goralnik Hour.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting founder Dick Robinson.
You know, the media business has changed a lot since we opened our doors in 1964. Now media content is everywhere, on air, online, on the go. More than ever, companies are looking for people to help drive this new media.
At Connecticut School of Broadcasting, you'll get hands-on training on the latest software and equipment in a matter of months, not years. Connecticut School of Broadcasting has placed thousands of grads in broadcast media careers.
It's all about versatility. You see, at a radio station, if you also know how to shoot, edit, and post videos, you become a pretty hot commodity. That's the training you get at Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting with locations up and down the East Coast from Massachusetts to Miami. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to gocsb.com. Connecticut School of Broadcasting, the nation's oldest and largest group of broadcast media schools, redefining training in radio, TV, and new media. Get trained. Get connected. 1-800-TV-RADIO.
Welcome back to the Goralnik Hour. As I mentioned, we're joined by the great Greg Sorensen.
Well, hello there.
Well, hello. Didn't see you there. It's probably because I have two huge computer screens blocking our view. That's just the way I like it. You made a funny joke over the commercial break. If you've ever seen Home Improvement, Wilson, right? That's the guy's name?
The tool man's neighbor, Wilson. You are resembling Wilson right now. We just need to get you like a fisherman's hat.
Yes, a bucket hat, right?
Yeah, that's it.
The bucket hat. You know, I used to wear bucket hats. I used to rock those all day long.
I think they're coming back.
They might be.
It's a hashtag Wilson wear, and it's bucket hats and fences. They're in style.
Is this real?
No, not at all.
Oh, well, you had me. You sold me. You should be a salesman. If you're gonna sell something, sell the show, please. I'd love it if you did.
I promote you on Facebook. That's all I can. That's all I can say.
This is true. He does. And if you follow me, be sure to add Greg Sorensen. You know, he always likes the friends.
I love friends. I'm all about friends.
We love friends, man. Double dose. It's time. I don't know what is going on in USC. First, they have their captain cornerback, Josh Shaw, making up stories, clearly covering something else up.
They need to release what he's covering up. I want to know.
Well, you heard, right? You heard that his name is being mentioned or thrown around with a break-in that happened a Saturday, I believe last Saturday night, 2 Saturdays ago, something like that. The
last story I read was last night, and it said that the university is withholding all details.
See, I got the inside scoop. It's a good thing you're here today. Not the latest, but when talks were that it could be a lie. This is before he even came out and said it was not a lie. A police detective from the LAPD said that Josh Shaw, his name was being mentioned, not as a suspect, but just mentioned. I don't really understand that part of it, but mentioned in an incident that was a break-in in an apartment break-in at an apartment building on Saturday night. So now it's starting to kind of unfold. My mind's leading there, like, hey, you jumped off a balcony to save your nephew, or you jumped off a balcony with, $100 in your pocket,
right,
in a bag of whatever you want to call. I don't know. So on the wake of that story, now you have this. Running back Anthony Brown called Coach Steve Sarkisian, called him a racist and quit the team. This happened Thursday. The show was over, so I couldn't report on it Thursday, but calling Coach Sarkisian a racist and quitting the team. I do not know what's going on in USC, but they came into the season with high hopes.
Oh yeah.
I think that's dropping now.
Another year of big recruits, and
that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign at all. Sarkisian responded, said I had no idea. He didn't let me know anything when we met, so
maybe he is racist and he just doesn't listen. I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible. He's like, what? The black guy is accusing me what? I can't even hear him talking. It's so dark in here. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Round 2 on that note.
All right, Brian taking it to a whole new level.
That's what we do here on the Goralnik Hour. Round 2, NFL, Commissioner Roger Goodell, he has put out a new rule. He actually apologized for his decision with Ray Rice, and then came out with a new rule saying that it's a new domestic violence rule that one incident, your first case, I guess, of it, you get 6 weeks or 6-game fine or suspension, I should say. Yeah, and then the second violation is a permanent, lifetime ban. So almost like a Pete Rose ban from football. So you go from 6 games to lifetime. I mean, that is very, very strict, and I think it's the right move. I really applaud him for actually apologizing for his decision.
Well, the problem with that is it's kind of disgusting that it took such public backlash for him to even realize that the penalty was too weak. And I think another big thing is, at least what I've seen on the internet is, Josh Gordon's out for the whole year with no chance of him coming to play this year, and he can't play in the CFL.
Yep.
So he's losing money, and it was for smoking pot for the second time, failing a drug test in the offseason. And Ray Rice is on camera dragging his wife through an elevator.
For two games.
And he gets 2 games. So, I mean, the rules are rules, I get that, but it's sad that it took something that should not have been a year-long suspension to make him realize.
Right, it should have been right up front. I mean, when it happened and everything, all the facts were laid out, I mean, he should have had it clear by then. It shouldn't have taken, like you said, the public backlash and like, dude, you got it wrong. What are you doing? Like,
Oh,
I did? What's going on here?
This was months of backlash.
Well, listen, he met with Ray Rice, so maybe he was intimidated. Maybe Ray Rice was beating him in the office.
But it also comes down to superstars. Ray Rice is a borderline superstar.
He is.
And so maybe he got preferential treatment this time. Goodell said, all right, 2 games, that'll...
And he's had a clean history. That helps too.
Yes.
But I like the rule. And now I got a question on the rule. If this happens again, God forbid it does, but if it happens again with Ray Rice, that's a lifetime ban, right?
Yep.
He doesn't get grandfathered, or he gets grandfathered in kind of like that was his first offense. He didn't get the 6 games, but it doesn't matter. That's his first offense.
I hope so.
I would hope so.
I hope so.
If he did it again and they said, all right, 6 games, first offense under our new rule, well, my goodness. I think Roger Goodell, he would have some angry women at his doorstep. And now I know that you have a double dose for us today.
I do have a double dose.
Celebrity double dose.
I have a double dose. I wouldn't call myself a celebrity, but there's a double dose here.
Okay.
All right, so I'm a baseball guy, and you have me in today, and it's all college football, so I need to get some baseball in here.
Hit me.
So Yusmeiro Petit took over Tim Lincecum's role in the starting rotation.
Yep.
Tim Lincecum has moved to the bullpen. He's probably going to become the closer, which is great because if you look at his numbers with runners on base, he is dreadful. When he's got no one on the base and he's pitching from the windup, he's great. So him in the bullpen, I think, is great, but you can't put him in with men on base, which is why he'd fit in as a closer. Yusmeiro Petit, fantastic that, was it a day or 2 after Madison Bumgarner is 2 outs away from a perfect game?
Yeah.
This kid comes in and he extends that retired batter streak.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic. So that's my first.
Okay.
My second, Alex Gordon hit another home run last night.
He did.
The Kansas City Royals are in first place of the American League Central. They have not made the playoffs in quite a long time. There are rumblings, that Alex Gordon may be stealing some MVP votes this year for bringing the Kansas City Royals back into prominence. And I have no problem with that. He plays an excellent right field.
He does, but is it just him bringing them back into prominence? I mean, you look at Salvador Perez, you look at, Mike Moustakas has had somewhat of a role.
Yeah, but he's
in
hitting
that bullpen. In that bullpen has had a huge role.
But if you're looking at their best player,
no question.
I think it's Alex Gordon.
No
and he puts up numbers every year. And I'm okay with him getting MVP votes. That's all. That's my 2.
Okay.
That's my double dose.
That's his double dose. We will be back with Adam's Fantasy, and that's coming up right after the break. You keep it right here. You do not want to miss this big trivia question, and it's going to go out to you too, Greg. I want you to take a stab at this as well. Maybe I'll ask you before I ask him because he'll probably just go ahead and throw his guess out there, all right?
We'll see.
All right. That's after the break. Keep it right here on the Goralnik Hour. This is a Goralnik Hour weather update brought to you by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. In Farmington, Connecticut, right now it's sunny and warm, and Saturday should be the same with a high of 78. On Sunday and Monday, it'll be a bit hotter, but there's a chance for scattered thunderstorms. I hope you all enjoy your Labor Day weekend. All right, welcome back to the Goralnik Hour. Special day, we got a lot going on. Greg Sorensen in studio with us today, holding it down as always.
You know it.
Look at him lounging back over there.
Feet on the desk like I own the place.
Well, you pretty much do. I mean,
That's true.
You pretty much, we both do, I would
That's
say.
yeah.
Then we might as well change it to the Connecticut School of Brian and Greg. Or Greg and Brian, whatever sounds better to you.
Ing.
And we are joined on the Line and Billard hotline by our fantasy expert insider, Adam. Adam, what's going on today?
Not much. The train for New York leaves in about 3.5 hours. It's U.S. Open weekend.
Yeah, I know. You are heading up to the U.S. Open.
I'll be there tomorrow. I get to see Djokovic and I get to see Serena, so I'll be there tomorrow.
Wow, you got a
Nice.
couple good matches.
Yeah, but it would be even better if Serena was playing Djokovic, but, that could be a good game, actually.
Listen, our expert insider coming up with the jokes.
Yeah.
Djokovic is... All right, that was bad. That was a bad joke. That was a bad one.
There's no joke to Djokovic.
All right, Adam. As we do almost every day now, it is a sports trivia question of the day. And today, I think I have stumped you again. I believe you're what? 3-2 now? I believe you're 3-2.
3-2. You got me yesterday.
I think we're gonna bring you back down to 500 today. All right. So let me set this one up. Since 2008, the 4 QBs to have the most wins. All right.
Since 2008, the 4 QBs have the most wins.
Yep. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees, in no particular order, are the top 3 quarterbacks. Can you guys name the 4th quarterback on that list who has the most wins since 2008?
The quarterback with the most wins since 2008, Manning, Brady, Brees, and the 4th. Okay. What are you going to give me here? A minute?
Yeah, I mean the clock's on. Yeah. Let's not take too much time here. We got a show to run.
Well, I've got it broken down a little bit. I got a few options here. Roethlisberger comes to my mind. Phillip Rivers comes to my mind. Tony Romo comes to my mind. Jay Cutler comes to my mind. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was playing quarterback in 08, so I don't think it would be him. My guess would be Roethlisberger since 2008.
And Greg, do you have a guess?
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say Matty Ice Matt Ryan.
Matty Ice.
I think that's too early for Matt Ice 2008. I don't know. Was he quarterbacking in 08?
I think he was. I think that was his draft year, 2008.
I think so.
Well, the answer, Greg, you are incorrect. And our fantasy expert insider, he is our fantasy expert insider for a reason. He's correct. It's Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Woo!
You proved me wrong. You are now 4-2, my friend. Well done.
That was good. And I'm going to guess that probably Phillip Rivers might be number 5.
That's possible. I do not know 5 through 10 or whatever. I know the top 4. That's where I stopped my question at. So
that's a good question again. Good question. You're coming up with some good ones.
Well, I try for my viewers. I try.
All
all right.
Good enough.
So, Adam, let's get into it. We are doing college football. Before I get into this weekend's games, all right, because I have the spreads for all the weekend games that we're going to take a look at. I have a few that are starred out. You said you have your picks for the college football playoffs. You have your 4 teams and potentially a victor. So why don't you go ahead and let everybody know who you have set for the college playoffs?
All right. Well, first of all, these are in no particular order. Any of these 4 teams I think could finish 1 through 4. But I'll give it to you anyways. One is Florida State. They come back this year, returning the same Heisman winning trophy quarterback. They play in the ACC. There's not a lot of competition. So I truly expect Florida State to be there at the end. That's one. Number 2, Alabama. They get their only tough conference road game this year is at LSU. They have to go to the Bayou. Other than that, they get Auburn at home this year. They get a couple other, quality teams from the SEC at home this year as well. So I definitely like Alabama to come out of the SEC. I think they'll be a school. Oklahoma would be my third pick. I think the Big 12 conference is a down this year. I mean, basically it's Oklahoma and Baylor. Oklahoma gets Baylor at home this year. If you look at Oklahoma's away schedule, I mean, they play their away schedule this year is against teams like Texas Tech, TCU. So they don't have a very difficult schedule away from Norman. So I expect Oklahoma to be there. Plus, they had a great showing in their final bowl game last year. So I expect them to be there. The fourth one was tough, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say the winner of the Oregon-Michigan State game, which is a big game coming up, or Michigan State versus Oregon. The winner of that game will be the fourth team. I don't know which team is going to win that game. I would say probably Oregon. Stanford's got a good team, but the problem is Stanford's got a very difficult schedule. Stanford is at Oregon, at UCLA, and at Notre Dame this year. Oregon's toughest contest, I think, besides the game against Michigan State, is going to be a road game at UCLA later on this year. But I think Oregon is just good enough to get by all those games. I think Oregon will beat Michigan State as well. So I will say Oregon for my fourth pick. But if Michigan State does upset Oregon, then it will be Michigan State representing the Big Ten as the fourth team. Michigan State gets Michigan at home this year. They get Ohio State at home this year. So the schedule is very, very good for Michigan State if they can defeat Oregon in that big matchup. So the winner of that game, that will be the number 4 team.
Okay, Adam. And then let's break it down even one more level. And do you have a championship game prediction?
Well, I think the best game. I think the best game of the 4 there would be Florida State versus Alabama. I mean, Florida State is the defending champions, as I said. You know, they get a good part of their team back, including their Heisman-winning trophy quarterback. And then why not go up against Alabama, regarded as the best school in college football? They get the best players every single year. So why not have those? Why not have those two go up against each other? So I would look forward to a FSU Alabama game. Oregon would be fun. Obviously, that high-powered offense. That would be fun to watch as well, especially if they went up against Alabama, who's regarded as having, one of the best defenses. But in the end, I'm going to say FSU and Alabama. I know it's kind of boring. They're 1-2 to start the season. I just think that when you take these 5 schools that I just read to you, I just think that they're at a level by themselves. And then there's a whole bunch of other teams below. Now, you never know. Obviously, there's going to be teams that pull off upsets and have surprising seasons, and very, and a team like LSU could knock off an Alabama. Obviously, a team like Stanford or a team like UCLA could knock off an Oregon. So you just never know. But I just feel that there's so much difference between these 5 schools and the rest. So I'm gonna stick with these 5 schools, and the winner of that Oregon-Michigan State game is going to be the last team in.
Okay, and who wins the national championship game?
Well, they say you don't tug on Superman's cape and you don't spit into the wind, and I don't think you bet against Nick Saban. I mean, he doesn't win every single year, but you just don't bet against Nick Saban. So I would have to say in the end, roll tide, and I'll go with Alabama.
So Alabama takes the national championship over Florida State this year. That is your prediction.
That will be my prediction.
All right, we will see if that comes true. Obviously, that's quite a long ways away, the national championship game. Let's take a look at this weekend. You did pretty good yesterday. You were 2-1. On Saturday, it's a 12 p.m. game. Ohio State is at Navy, and Ohio State right now is a 16.5-point favorite.
Can you imagine what they would be if Braxton
With
Miller
Braxton
was
Miller,
playing?
I know it.
You know, this is one of those games where if you almost, unless there's a gun being pointed to your head and you have to play it, you don't want to play it because you just don't know. You don't know what this redshirt freshman is going to do for Ohio State. Navy is a very respected team. They run that triple threat offense, which can fool teams at times. 16.5 points is a lot of points for a redshirt freshman who 3 weeks ago didn't even know he was going to be in this position. Unless Navy plays a sloppy game and Ohio State gets some points off of turnovers and defense, I would take Navy with the 16.5 points.
All right, Adam. We have unranked Fresno State at number 15 USC, who is a 21-point favorite.
Yeah, Fresno State, obviously, they start the post Derek Carr era. Obviously, they wouldn't be that big of an underdog a year ago if they had Derek Carr at the helm. They probably would even be a favorite, to be honest with you, or at worst, a pick 'em. USC is going to be good this year. I mean, they're good almost every single year. They haven't been as good since obviously Pete Carroll and the sanctions were handed down a few years ago. But they're good. USC is going to compete with UCLA in that Pac-12 Southern Division. I think they're the two favorites in that division. It's probably going to come down to the end of the year when USC has to travel to the Rose Bowl to play UCLA to see who wins that division. I don't see USC slipping up in this first game against Fresno State, so I'll take the Trojans at home, giving with the points.
21 point. Okay.
21 points.
Speaking about a 21-point favorite, number 7 UCLA visiting Virginia. How will UCLA fare in their first matchup?
Well, it's UCLA's got a lot of expectations on them this year. They start the year in the top 10. They're projected to win that Pac-12 Southern Division, as I just said, and go on to the Pac-12 championship game. It's not an easy way to start off, having to fly across the country and play a good Virginia team. Obviously, they're not a great Virginia team, but they're no slouch. They play in a power conference themselves in the ACC. I kind of relate this game to yesterday's game when I told you, Boise State would struggle having to fly all the way across the country to play Mississippi in the Georgia Dome last night. Obviously, UCLA is the better team. I do expect UCLA to win the game in the end, but I think it could be a struggle, especially, in the beginning. First game of the season, I could see Virginia coming out playing a little tough. So I will take UCLA to win the game, but they will not cover the points. So I will take Virginia and the home dog and the points.
Wow. Okay. Big pick there.
Again, UCLA will win the game. I expect them to, but I could see them winning the game. 30 to 17, 30 to 20, something like that. And obviously that would not be a cover.
Right. Okay. We were talking about Alabama. They're your pick to win the national championship. They are at home against West Virginia, and West Virginia a 26-point underdog.
Yeah. Boy, West Virginia, it seems like since they moved to the Big 12 conference, it just has not worked out for them. Not in football, not in basketball either. I mean, Bob Huggins is a great coach, and they've just had trouble since they've moved to the Big 12. They probably were better off staying where they were in the old Big East. That's a tough task, obviously, for West Virginia to go to Tuscaloosa, play in that mayhem, and try to defeat Alabama. They're tough there. They don't lose often there. In fact, very seldom do they lose. The last home loss for Alabama, I think, might have been Johnny Manziel and A&M a couple of years ago when A&M went in there and shocked the world. With that being said, they were my pick to win the national championship. I think they want to impress people. I think they want to get off to a good start. So they do obviously have a brand new quarterback going. A.J. McCarron has moved on, but the defense is just too overwhelming. It will cause turnovers. It will force mistakes to be made by West Virginia. So I will take Alabama at home, giving the points.
All right, number 1 Florida State, 18-point favorites versus Oklahoma State. What do you think there?
It's. I mean, can you guys remember a week when we've just had so many really, really good games to open up a college football season? I mean, you're talking Oklahoma State is in years past, has been a top 5, top 10 school. Win the BCS championship game, not championship games, but BCS bowl games in the past. It's Florida State. They're number 1. You don't expect them to slip up in this situation. You got to figure they're going to come out, be ready to play. Jameis Winston should be ready to go. I'm gonna expect number 1 to roll, just like I expect number 2 Alabama to roll. So I'm gonna take Florida State.
Okay, all right, and we got a few more here, so let's try to quickly wrap this up. Number 6 Auburn at home against Arkansas. They are an 18-point favorite. Auburn is. They don't have Nick Marshall, but will they cover the spread?
I'm going to take Arkansas with the points. Just when SEC teams play SEC teams, the battles are just they're just tough. No SEC team is going to go down easy, and Arkansas is an up and coming program since Bobby Petrino had his little incident with there a few years ago. I think they're on the rise back, and I expect them to play tough. Nick Marshall not in the lineup for Auburn obviously hurts them. I think Auburn wins the game still, but I don't think it will be by much. It's a huge rivalry. You're talking Alabama versus Arkansas, the states of Alabama versus the state of Arkansas, with Auburn versus Arkansas. So give me Arkansas getting the points. I'll take the points.
Number 13 LSU is a 5-point underdog against number 14 Wisconsin. What are you thinking there?
Again, I mean, just this is why it was important, guys, to have this college football playoff system. Because in years past, the loser of this game, your season is pretty much over, and it's the first game of the season, and your season is pretty much over at this point. Just another great game. I tell you, Wisconsin always seems to come to play when it's big time and it means to go. Obviously, they start a new era with a new head coach as their head coach left them last year. But I love the. I mean, this is going to be a war. I mean, Wisconsin loves to run the ball. They love to run it right down your throat, and obviously Les Miles and LSU has always been known for their defense, especially the front four. They've always had fantastic guys on the D line. It's going to be a battle. I don't expect this to be high scoring. I don't expect it to be a blowout either way. But I will roll with Wisconsin. It just seems like in years past, every single time they get put in one of these big matchups, they always come up big. So give me the Badgers.
Okay, and then the final matchup here, Adam, the one I'm looking forward most to is number 16 Clemson at number 12 Georgia. Georgia, the 7.5-point favorite.
Every time Clemson gets put in one of these big matchups and against a high-ranked team, they always fall. They always disappoint. But Georgia does as well. Georgia disappoints a lot as well. I'll take Georgia. I'm not sold on the pick. I think this is a swing game that could go either way. I'll take Georgia just because I never liked Clemson in these kind of games. So I'll take the Bulldogs.
All right, there you have it. That is our Fantasy Expert Insiders picks. We'll get back to you on Tuesday when we come back with the show, and we'll let you know how you did, Adam.
Sounds good.
All right, and I know you had a final thought today, but unfortunately, like I said, we are running out of time, so we'll just have to hold off on that until Tuesday, all right?
Thank you very much. Have a great Labor Day weekend, everyone.
All right, you too, Adam. Thank you for that. It is time for The Scoop with Andrew Hoops, also with Greg Sorensen today, and we will discuss what we discussed last Friday. We will reopen up the debate about who has the biggest name in sports. That is coming right up after the break. It's on the Goralnik Hour.
All Noise Radio. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Welcome back to the Goralnik Hour. It is time for the scoop with Andrew Hoops. He joins us. Andrew, how's it going today?
Good. I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back into the
Special
studio.
guest.
Yeah, we have Greg Sorensen. We had him all day here. It's a pleasure to have him in here, and it's a good thing because we need to debate this further. We're reopening the topic that we had last Friday about who has the most well-known name in sports. We kind of agreed, Michael Jordan. We said we'll hold off for our final. I think we just settled on our USA prediction.
Right.
Our USA
Yep.
vote was Michael Jordan. Internationally, though, when we open it up, I re-polled a lot of people, and on Facebook, the biggest number of people, the largest number of people voted for Michael Jordan, 11 for Michael Jordan.
And that's the majority.
That was the majority. The
Who's second?
Second was Ronaldo with 3 votes. So it was a landslide to Jordan.
I don't even think he'd be second. I think if Jordan won, I think second would be somebody more like Pele or Muhammad Ali or somebody like that.
Yeah, Pele had 2 votes. The sample size was small.
Right.
But
Sample size needs to be billions of people.
Yeah,
so I don't think we have access to that.
eventually, one day.
Yeah, when you take over the world.
So, Greg, obviously, Andrew and I have debated this. I'd like you to weigh in. I'm curious as to who you think.
For myself, it's Muhammad Ali.
Hands down.
Hands down. The most, I feel like, most recognizable athlete on the planet. Just what he was able to do in boxing, and at a time when a black man should not have been getting that much exposure, you could say. He was able to turn the boxing world on its head, and I feel like everybody knows float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Like, I was saying that when I was in first grade, and I didn't know who Muhammad Ali was, but then I found out, and it's like, so for me, it's Muhammad Ali, but it was a real close decision between him and Pele, just because soccer is the world's biggest sport. You can make the argument, and Pele is probably one of the most recognizable, like even just the name.
So is Jordan even in your top 5? I mean,
yeah,
but you
he may be 3 or 4, and you know who might be 3? My top 3 are probably Muhammad Ali, Pele, and David Beckham.
David
Ever?
Ever.
Yeah.
Really?
Huh.
He's more worldwide known than LeBron James, Michael
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Interesting. I actually talked to, like I did the previous weekend, I talked to somebody. I was at a party, my cousin's party, and
Hoops going to parties.
yeah, no, it was a baby gender reveal party. It wasn't like a, I don't know, any kind of crazy party. But her husband works at a restaurant, and all of his colleagues were there, line cooks and everybody. One was from El Salvador. 2 of them were actually. And I talked to him, and I said, this is a great perspective. He was born and raised there. And I asked him the question, and again, like the majority of the people that I've talked to, his first instinct was, I don't know, like Michael Jordan. And I said, okay, that's interesting you say that. Why do you say that? And he said, well, growing up in El Salvador, we didn't know who Michael Jordan was, but everyone knew his name. Even though soccer was the biggest sport there, they all wanted Jordans. They all wanted to have Jordan shoes. And he said, until it came to the United States, he said, I didn't realize Jordan was an actual person, but we knew Michael Jordan shoes. So that's what I mean. He's become a worldwide brand, even in a sport, even in a country where the biggest sport is not basketball. They knew of basketball, but
his shoes certainly helped.
Yeah, he was the first person that came to his mind. He's like, well, Jordan is so huge here, and we knew him in El Salvador.
But if he was still living in El Salvador and you asked him that question, he didn't even know Jordan was a real person. He would just think those are Nike shoes. So that kind of sways the argument where people think, like, yes, he's the brand. He's probably the biggest brand in sports because it's Jordan. It's a marketing genius. Whereas
that's fair.
if you show pictures and you have a picture of Michael Jordan and you show it to someone in El Salvador, they probably won't know who it is. If you show a picture of Muhammad Ali, I bet a lot of people will know who Muhammad Ali is.
It's kind of like the point that I was making to you, Andrew, about Cy Young. And, a lot of people may know of Cy Young because they know of the Cy Young Award, but they don't know.
They think it's a weird name for an award, but it's a real person.
And so we were giving Jordan a lot of credit for his shoes, saying that's helping his branding. But maybe there's a lot of people that know, Jordan's, I like those shoes, but, I don't know the person behind it. I didn't know Michael Jordan and his basketball players behind it.
But do you discount those people? Like, say David Beckham, if you went to a non-sports fan and you said, do you know the name David Beckham? They might say, yeah, that's the guy with his shirt off in the Calvin Klein. Oh, so we have to discount that person.
No, but if you know,
they know he's a person.
Right. That's the thing. Like,
I think, granted, this is all anecdotal evidence, so it proves nothing. But
yeah, and the kid said when he was a kid, so he didn't actually research it. He just knew it was a shoe. I'm sure that as he grew up, he'd be like, yeah, I got these Jordans. What's that logo on the side? Oh, yeah, it's Michael Jordan. He's a basketball player. They would figure it out.
Like, at first, I didn't know Chucks, the shoes were from Chuck Taylor.
Yeah.
I just knew him as Chucks. So that could be a similar thing along the Michael Jordan thing.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know if you can take the votes away from, like, our argument is who's the most popular. It's basically who's the most popular name, the athlete name in the world ever.
But they have to know him as an athlete. They can't just know the name and think it's a shoe, because that's not an athlete. A shoe is just what you wear on the bottom of your foot. They have to know the athlete to be the most well-known athlete. They have to know the person as an athlete. Like
it would be the same thing as, like, you talk about Michael Jordan. Someone goes, "Oh, you mean that guy in the Hanes commercials?" Like, they don't know he's an athlete. Granted, this is just me making my case,
right?
But
and it's kind of like, and I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but we talked about it off air. O.J. Simpson.
I was thinking O.J. too, but that would be for the wrong reasons.
But it's that football player who probably killed people.
Yeah.
He's
probably we'll say he did.
Right? Okay.
We'll say it for the sake of saying it.
I don't think there's any arguing.
Yeah. But that's the same thing. Do you take those votes away from OJ because he became more well known because of killing people, but he's still the football player who killed people.
He's the juice.
Yeah, and he was a movie star for a while. He was in commercials.
Naked Gun.
Yeah.
And that's like Babe Ruth in the Babe Ruth in the candy bar, right? And do people know that the candy bar is named after Babe Ruth, and how much credit should he get from that?
I don't know. I don't know where you draw the line.
See, when we were on the show last Friday, we kind of broke it down to 4 categories.
Yeah.
It was U.S. current playing, U.S. all-time, international current playing, and world current playing, and then world all-time, so international and US.
Which would include the United States.
Right, yeah. I guess if I phrase it international, people would think outside of U.S. But so U.S. playing, world playing, U.S. all-time, world all-time. So you could almost break it down into those 4 categories. But, how much of a difference does playing and not playing matter? I mean, you got younger generations that grow up not watching these guys.
Right. In the age of social media now,
yeah,
like Kevin Durant might be more popular all time than
Charles Barkley, but but that's because they didn't have the internet back then. And now Charles Barkley is doing commercials, so that helps him too.
And he's on TNT on the panel, so they know he's associated with basketball.
Online we did get one vote, one write-in vote. I didn't add this to the list, but one write-in vote for Shaq.
Yeah.
And I remember you were telling me a story that
in Mongolia.
Yeah, in Mongolia they know of Shaq, which that's a bit impressive to me.
There's another random. I don't know if you listened last week, but another random person that I ran into. I asked them, and he said, "Oh, I actually lived in Mongolia for a year, and I know for a fact that the people that I knew, only thing they knew about athletes was Jordan and Shaq."
Interesting.
in Mongolia.
Probably because Mongolian. I've done research. Their favorite movie in Mongolia is Kazam, so they love Shaquille O'Neal.
They have bad taste in movies.
No, they had amazing taste in movies. A rapping genie coming from a boombox.
Shaq is an excellent rapper. I love Shaq.
Can I ask you guys?
Actor. Not
Can I
rapper.
ask you guys a question? When you did the current athlete in America, what was your guys' take?
Current.
Yeah, you said you broke it into 4 categories.
Yeah, I don't think there should be a debate. I think it's LeBron James all day.
Well, there's Tiger Woods.
Over
too.
Tiger Woods?
Yes, because of the decline that Tiger has been on. Now, if you asked me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Tiger Woods.
LeBron wouldn't have been in the league 10
No,
years
sure,
ago.
I agree, but I mean, because
if you put the
has gone
Tiger
downhill,
of 2004 against the LeBron of
now.
2014, I think Tiger has it. But I think the people that knew Tiger in 2004 haven't forgotten him.
Right.
No, but I think new players or new people watching golf, maybe because of Rory McIlroy or just because they're getting into golf.
Still, the number one story in a week when Tiger's not playing in a tournament is Tiger's not playing this week.
That's true.
Boom.
Boom. That's it. Andrew decided it, everybody. It is Tiger Woods, U.S. current playing. Well, technically, he's
This is
not
the correct answer.
Technically, he's not currently playing, though.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
he's
is.
injured.
He's
so-
hurt. He's hurt.
Yeah, he's currently playing.
Yeah, well, he's about to retire soon.
LeBron is probably number 2 on the list.
I do want to make a note. I was watching the U.S. Open tennis, and Jordan was in the crowd. And they mentioned Jordan in the interview, and the entire crowd erupted. Now, this is a tennis match that they clearly all know Michael Jordan. Granted, it's in the United States.
I was going to
but
say, what's the name of this tournament happening?
it's the U.S. Open, but it's in New York, and but still, tennis is a whole different sport. I mean, if you're talking about a football stadium knowing Michael Jordan and a tennis stadium, it would be different if the football stadium knew.
But still, okay, name me, who would you say, now we're getting into crazy land, who's the most recognized and best football player of all time?
Of all time, or just currently
I'm
playing?
going to try to make an argument.
Of all time.
I actually tried. I broke
tried-
it down into sports, and I couldn't think of a standout athlete in football. And
There's
that's
a
when
few.
that's when I came up with O.J. Simpson for worldwide notoriety.
But somebody
worldwide.
that people would cheer for is what I'm saying. Say
Current or ever.
ever. Say you want to say it's
Walter Payton. I don't know.
Walter Payton, Steve Young,
Franco
Montana.
Harris.
Jerry Rice.
not many. Jerry Rice. Okay, we'll say that. We'll say Jerry Rice gets mentioned in her interview at the U.S. Open. You don't think people are going to cheer for him?
if he's in the crowd.
Yeah, right.
Right, yeah, they would.
It's the same thing. It doesn't matter that you're in America, and I would say 99% of people in America know who Michael Jordan is. That's skewing it to
skewing our perspective.
Yeah. If it was a tennis tournament in France and someone was like, Michael Jordan's in the crowd, you're going to get cheers, but the place isn't going to erupt.
Okay, that's fair.
One of the highlights I saw from the U.S. Open, I don't know where it came from, but the headline, it was a video headline. It said, Federer hits a shot that impresses his airness. And it was a picture of Michael Jordan in the crowd. That was the little picture that they showed as a preview. And I was like, that's interesting. I watched it. Federer hit this shot between his legs. It hit the other guy in the back of the head or something. And Jordan was like, he clapped a few times. And Jordan was in the headline. I was like, wow.
The funniest thing I saw was when Alec Baldwin caught the tennis ball.
I didn't see that.
It went right up to him and he caught it and then waved to the crowd.
Oh, man. All right, so I think we're digressing a little bit. We're thinking
That's
about
all right.
the U.S. Open.
That's what we do.
That, of course, that's what the Goralnik Hour is for. And surprisingly, we have enough time this time to actually talk about it. Well, we're running out of time. We have 2 minutes left, but we've had quite the discussion here. Now, does it matter? We brought this up last Friday, too. Does it matter that some of the most well-known athletes currently, like a Derek Jeter, they are actually...
It's another very good pick.
Yes, yeah, we talked
Because of
about
the Yankee
Jeter.
brand.
Because of the Yankee brand. But he's also repping the Jordan brand. So he's almost elevating Jordan's status because he wears Jordans and he is advertised for Jordan. And, obviously now, Jordan's in his commercial, that respect
Everybody
commercial.
that wears the number 23 pretty much is doing it because their favorite player growing up was Jordan. It's
And
a
now
tribute.
you can say it for everybody wearing number 2 in baseball. They're doing it for Jeter.
Right.
And kids know Jordan because of, the Looney Tunes movie Space Jam.
Another great one, man. Kazam and Space Jam.
I love.
Why
me
aren't
some
we
Space
playing
Jam.
those on this TV right
We
now?
should.
Next Friday, we won't even do a show. We'll just do a movie hour, and we'll watch
It'll just
Space
be
Jam.
silence, and it'll just be like us laughing at movies.
Greg, what's going on?
What are you
over
doing
there?
here?
Sorry.
you
we had to talk about Home Improvement earlier, and I was just getting
Oh, yes.
photographic proof.
Oh, I thought you were taking selfies or something.
No selfies. No, thank you.
No selfies?
No selfies.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know, because then it can get into the whole thing of, you're saying Derek Jeter's repping the Jordan brand, but a kid could be like, oh, I want Jordans because that's what Derek Jeter wears.
but
you
they
know
know.
what I mean?
But they know of Jordan and Michael Jordan. I mean, if you know Derek Jeter,
But this
you
goes into the
essentially
whole
have to-
thing about different countries.
Okay,
Because I'd say the Yankee brand is bigger than Michael Jordan.
that's a good question. I don't know about
Probably. Hey,
I bet you the Yankees sell more merchandise than Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan as an individual.
that.
Yeah,
If you
I guess,
if you
probably.
include
Jordan
his
shoes, like anything Nike that has Jordan on it, I think the Yankees sell more merchandise.
I bet you Jordan makes more
Worldwide.
money though.
Well, probably.
The shoes. Are
Wait, you think
ridiculously
Jordan
expensive.
makes more money than the New York Yankees franchise?
No, off of selling
Merchandise,
merchandise. Yeah.
I don't know, because Yankees, they could sell dozens and dozens
Right.
of jerseys, and Jordan only has the.
He
well,
sells
he's got-
dozens and dozens
he's
of
got
shoes
two.
that are like $400 a
Yeah.
pop. I mean, all right. So here's a question: how much do Olympics play into? I mean, we know of Usain Bolt. He's not even from America. Michael Phelps, guys like that. Shaun White. I know we never mentioned him. If you see a picture of Shaun White, I don't think you're not going to know who it is. But that's coming from an American. I mean, do other people know? Because everybody watches the Olympics.
But if you're not into winter sports and snowboarding, like I could show a picture of Shaun White to my grandparents and they'd be like, "Who's this freak?
Yeah.
Well, why doesn't he cut his hair?"
Okay,
you know
but
what I mean?
If you
He
showed
did
him,
cut his hair.
If you showed him a picture of Michael Phelps, I bet you they would know of Michael Phelps, because you're right. Winter sports, I guess, are a different niche. You gotta kind of like them.
And he's extreme sports and
Right.
winter sports, so it's
Right. It's you're getting into a different crowd that doesn't please everybody. But with Michael Phelps, the thing, what he did, in the Olympics, winning all those medals and setting records, and it's swimming. Everybody's gonna watch swimming because every country is pretty much has a chance at swimming. It's not one sport it's not one sport that's dominant. I mean, like Winter Olympics are pretty much dominated by Canada, U.S., Russia, and Norway. I mean, there's not every country has a chance. Like, do countries from Africa, do they have a chance in the Winter Olympics?
I don't know, Jamaican bobsled.
Jamaican bobsled team.
How
Cool
well did they
runnings.
do?
Now we
Cool
have
run.
three.
Three
We have a
movies to
movie
watch.
marathon to do.
I mean, but
Next
they
week's
made-
show is 6 hours long.
6 hours, and we'll play you all the audio. But if you want to come in the studio, you can watch with us. Free popcorn. That'll be on Greg.
Okay. I yes.
He accepts.
I don't think we're gonna come up with an answer. I don't think the world can come up with an answer
No,
to this.
it's so because you get biased. Like I'm really like I think it's Muhammad Ali, so I'm gonna try to find
Right.
holes in all of your
Yeah, and
anecdotal
I-
evidence.
Muhammad Ali is definitely, in the argument.
It helps that there's a movie like dedicated to him.
Thank
I mean,
you, Will
Jordan has been in movies as actors, but Ali has a movie dedicated to him as if he's this heroic figure that everybody should know of.
Well, the movie came out, I don't know, 30 years after he retired. So Jordan hasn't been retired for 30 years. So he's got 20 more years until
Sure, it's possible
to get
that,
a movie made of him.
I look at Space Jam as a mini movie of him too, though.
It's
The
a
whole-
I think it's a documentary.
He
actually.
saved the Looney Tunes, Brian. He saved the Looney Tunes
Well,
from the
good.
Monstars.
Somebody needed to. That is all the time we have today. I think we'll have to close up the segment and say Jordan wins, but not unanimously.
I'll let you guys have it, but I need to say one thing.
Go ahead.
I saw the greatest thing on the internet the other day. So there were rumors that LeBron's going to do Space Jam 2, and making fun of LeBron, it said, "How long into the movie until LeBron leaves the Toon Squad to join the Monstars because he wants to win the game?"
Listen, the Toon Squad won the game, so what are you talking about? They got Bugs. They got what's her name? What's the female
Jordan.
bunny?
Yeah, I think
Babs.
LeBron would
Babs,
take
yeah.
his talents to whatever planet they're
He would
from.
take his talents to Danny DeVito as their
Yes, the
manager.
Well, dude, you look at the size of LeBron. I mean, he would fit well with that monster.
He looks
squad.
more like a monster than he does
Yeah.
a rabbit.
Oh, it is the Goralnik Hour, guys. Thank you for joining me. Andrew, every Friday, you can hear us. It's
I'll be here.
Scoops with Andrew Hoops. And Greg, we hope to have you in studio again sometime soon.
I'll try to come next Friday.
You'll try to come next Friday. All right. Have a good Labor Day weekend, everybody, and I'll be back with you all on Tuesday.
Later.